So we just got the release date for Crash Team Rumble, which is revealed to be on the 20th of June this year, and this is actually much sooner than we initially expected. However, there are some things that I'm worried about based on some of the info that was revealed, and I want to talk about it in this video. But first of all, in order to understand this, let's quickly talk about the important things first, which is the release date and the closed beta. So again, the game is releasing on the 20th of June, which is not too far away, and luckily, we will get a chance to play this game even earlier than that. If you decided to pre-order one of the available options that the game has to offer, you get to jump into the closed beta test this coming 20th of April next month. This beta will only last for 5 days, and during the beta, you get to try out 5 characters on 3 different maps. These 5 characters are Crash Bandicoot himself, Coco Bandicoot, Tawna, Dingodile, and Neo Cortex. The 3 maps that you will be playing on are the previously revealed Tiki Tower, Just Beachy, and Calamity Canyons, which you are seeing on the screen right now. You also get to try out 4 special power-ups during the beta, which I'll not get into it just yet as that is a topic for a whole nother video. But do note that there will be more characters, maps, and power-ups during the final release, as this is just a chance for you to test the game out for now. But here comes the real question though. How much does the game actually cost? Well, there will be 2 editions that you can pick, either the standard edition or the deluxe edition. Buying either of them will grant you access to the closed beta test on April. Unfortunately, this is the only way to try the game out early. Now, I want to note that this game does have a battle pass, even though it is a fully priced game. But personally, I don't really have a problem with it, especially if it worked like CTR Nitrofield, where the grind in unlocking newer things is actually pretty fun, and it doesn't really hinder the progress behind a huge paywall. However, here comes the one thing that I'm actually worried about. It's the pricing itself. Now, let me explain. Standard edition costs $30 and the deluxe edition costs about $40. Now, this isn't too expensive at all compared to other games on the market. But here is my concern. This game is a 4 vs 4 multiplayer game, which requires 8 real-life players per match. And this is where it starts to get me worried because first of all, from what we've known so far, Crash Team Rumble's game loop 100% relies on its player base to stay alive, as there are no single player mode, which honestly I don't really mind as they are trying something new out. But what worries me is that by putting a paywall behind a game that 100% relies on its player base itself, it might be a problem in the long run. Because by putting a paywall behind a game that is very multiplayer centric like this, they are limiting the amount of people that is able to play the game, and because of this, lesser people playing could affect the experience of other players as well as time goes on, like slower matchmaking time or not so full lobbies. Now obviously, this could be a problem, especially if the game loop relies 100% on multiplayer so much. I just hope that the game would be a massive success and it would last a really long time. And yes, there is confirmation that there will be some sort of AI and bots running around, but we're not so sure on how that actually plays out yet, so I don't want to comment on that too much. But if you ask me, I would prefer to play with real players rather than bots, because this is where most of the fun gets from this style of games. And this is why most of the games on the market that focuses on multiplayer is actually free to play. For example, Fortnite and Dota 2, which are one of the few examples of games that really relies on its player base. But anyhow, this is just my gut feeling, and on the bright side though, I'm actually really glad this time that they actually revealed to have crossplay, so at least this keeps the game alive for a much longer time, considering if the game is good of course. But anyhow, this is just based on my gut feeling and how I feel right now. I have no problem this game being $30 or $40, but not being free to play for a game like this just kinda worries me a little. Because the last thing I want for Crash Team Rumble is for the multiplayer to severely die off, just like how Crash Team Racing Nitrofield did. So anyways, hopefully they will surprise us with some sort of single player element to it, or even better, I pray that the game is a massive success, that the player base is not an issue anymore and Crash Team Rumble lives on for years to come. But of course, the game can't really succeed if it isn't good in the first place, so click on this video right here to find out how Crash Team Rumble actually plays out to get a better idea of what you're getting.